Hi guys, Laura from AllOverThePlace here, and in this video I'd like to present to you my spinning equipment and some of my future projects. First of all, that I'd like to tell you that I'm an absolute beginner spinner. I used to watch my great-grandmother when I was little spin wool, but I never actually tried that much. She let me try it a couple of times. She would use a fork, a staff actually, to hold the wool, and she would spin with a spindle. I'm gonna get into a bit of depth about my background in another video, which will be probably released before this one, so you'll understand a bit about my background. But in this video I'm gonna focus mainly on presenting to you my spinning wheel, which I designed myself in Google SketchUp and then 3D printed. I'm lucky that I have a husband which indulges me in a lot of things, and also he is also passionate about the technical stuff. So this was my wheel, which I did entirely myself. I had no outside help. I took inspiration from the Daedalus spinning wheel in most parts, but I tried to use whatever I had in the house, so I will not, in order not to make any unnecessary purchases, because the goal of this spinning wheel was to make it as cheap as possible, since I'm not inclined to spend that much on equipment. If there's something simple, I'd rather do it myself. So first thing, let's get out of the way the blending board, which I did from a couple of dog brushes that I bought really cheap. You can see that I didn't find enough of each, so I bought two separate types, and I cut the rim very small. I just use a special glue and also staples on the side, and I also put myself a bit of a bracket here to hang it better on the table. And it's not a very wide board, it's about 20 centimeters, yeah, by 25, and I'm gonna use it to blend some fibers to make rolags, obviously, because this will be my first time that I'm gonna try a woolen spun yarn. First time I did it from a combed top, sorry. English is not my first language, so and as for the purchase, I always buy merino, extra fine merino. It's a 21 microns, I think, comb top from a local dealer. So these colors that you see here are the extra fine merino combed top, and for the colors I got inspired from a video from Trish from Love Fiber Diary, I believe. I'll link the video in the description box, so you will see my inspiration. Obviously the colors are not quite as what she had, because she received a package with a bat that had similar colors, and I'm gonna attempt to do my rolags combining these colors, and then trying to spin them on my spinning wheel. I'm gonna do a 2-ply, hopefully for my next cardigan. I'm attempting to combine, I will do a two-color, I'm considering my yarn with a commercially bought yarn. So it's technically is not 2 colors, it will have many colors, but I will use the commercially bought yarn with the yarn that I'm going to spin. And now let's present you my spinning wheel. I will unplug it. Okay, let's see. So as you can see, it's a rather big spinning wheel with a jumbo flyer. I think the first time I used it, I was able to put on the bobbin 400 grams of fiber, and it still wasn't full to the top. And so far I've printed only 2 bobbins. This one that I've been using for a while, and another one, and I think I'm considering I'm gonna do a 2-ply yarn. I will have to print a 3rd one so I can put my plying yarn on it. What I have used is a direct belt drive, which is a GT2 used in models that I had lying around the house. And also you can see here I use a ball bearing that I found in the garage. I believe it was from my father's garage, and I inherited it, so I decided to use it. And I don't really open this because in order to get out the bobbin, I just have to pull out this orifice here, which I made it so that I can get other types of orifices. Well, obviously now it won't come up. Usually it unscrews very easily, but hey, some other time maybe. And I also have a ball bearing, and this here is my tension, the Scotch tension, which goes over the bobbin. And what I did is I also printed, I used the electronic components, and I will show it to you once I plug it in how it lights up. I used a speed controller for the motor inside, which will read here speed, and voltage is also relevant to me because sometimes I know that at a specific voltage the wheel will spin at a ratio that is comfortable for me as a beginner. And in here I might have misinterpreted which way is S and which is Z, because when you flip the switch here and it turns on, the LED will be green, and the fly will spin clockwise. And when you put the lever in down position, the LED here will turn red and will spin counterclockwise. I tend to, for the first time I spun my yarn clockwise, and obviously I'm comfortable like that, and I will obviously ply the yarn in the other direction. I'm gonna show you a bit also on the inside. This is the back. The box, everything I did myself, and I also made it with the lid that it opens to expose all the wiring. I already have a bit of a background in exact science. I'm a mathematics and informatics major, and my father's hobby was electronics and combining different components. So I got a bit of background from him as well, because he used to let me play with his electronic components, and I already know what what I was going to do with this. So basically I just took a DC motor, a small DC motor, which is controlled by a speed controller, which allows him to spin faster or slower. I showed you here this thing. Also the speed is this piece here. It's basically a voltage variator, and when you turn the knob, when you reduce the voltage, which you will see here, obviously the motor will spin slower and transmit this slower motion also to the flyer. And another thing that I have here is a three-way button, meaning it controls the direction of rotation of the motor. And yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna plug it in now. I did a special a separate piece here, which says power. It's connected to a source, 12-volt source. This wheel for me, it's okay, because I can keep it here in the attic or maybe move it downstairs to spin it. But I recently saw a design by somebody else, which was an e-spinner nano, I think, which I liked it a lot because it was much more compact, and you could make it work also with the external power bank. And I think I would like to attempt that tiny spinning wheel also in because of its portability capacity. And I'm thinking that if I'm going to use an external power bank, I might make it with a solar charger. I think that would be great and fantastic actually for spinning outside in summertime, because you will be able to leave the power bank with the charger outdoor, and then spin, maybe have two power banks, one that you're going to use and the other one is solar charging. So yeah, that would be my next 3D printing project probably, just because I'm pretty pleased with this one, but I would like to make a more portable one. This one is really portable. I believe it has around 2.5 kilos because the motor is very small and all these other parts are plastic, except for these sides and the main shaft, which is aluminum, which is also kind of light. I would wager that the box actually weighs a bit more because it's plywood, construction plywood, which I found a scrap at a local hardware store. So okay, let's plug it in and show you guys how it works. I was concerned at first that it would be a bit noisier, but I looked at other spinning wheels, electric spinning wheels, and I found out that they were also making a little bit of noise. Also, my case for concern was also because this ball bearing that I'm using here in the front, I told you I have it from my father, which God knows where he got it from, and it's really old and a bit rusty. I think that with all the lubrication that I've tried to put in, it's still not enough, and it rattles a bit more. Also, what I didn't notice from my inspiration from the Daedalus spinning wheel was that, let me show you on the other bobbin. Sorry. This is my other bobbin. I did it with the leftover filament, and this is why it's two color, but I like it anyway. So on the Daedalus, the orifice here, that where the main shaft gets in, also had ball bearings. So I'm assuming this will provide a more smoother movement, while mine, it has a bit of wiggle room on the shaft and sometimes it rattles. So I'm going to show you how it looks and how it will spin. This is the wheel once it has been plugged in, and you can see it. It says here the voltage, and when I will press this, I will push this up, this LED will turn green, and the spinning, the flyer will start to turn clockwise. So let's see. It's a relatively slow speed, which I can increase. So this is the noise that it makes, also because of the moving parts, but mainly because of this ball bearing. There's a, you can actually hear the balls inside colliding, because no matter how much grease I put in here, it's not enough. So once it turns to a bigger speed, it gets louder and louder. But I'm a beginner spinner and I haven't been able to reach, maybe I went as far as this because it's pretty loud anyway. And let's reduce the speed a bit. And when I push this to the middle, it will stop and the LED switches off. And when I push it down, the LED will turn red and will spin counterclockwise. As you can see, this is what I'll be using for plying, since I already like to spin my singles in clockwise direction. So, as I was saying, this is the way that I get my bobbin off. This comes out and will release my belt, and after I get the flyer out, as you can see, there's a bit of grease in here from the old ball bearing. I might have to redesign this thing to do it all over again in with a newer ball bearing, but for now this works. And if I manage to do the e-spinner, the nano e-spinner, so it will be much smaller. Maybe the whole spinning wheel will be the size of this bobbin, then it will be nice. And for the moment I'll set it aside, and with the fiber that I previously showed you, with the cheap blending board that I made, is not perfect because let me grab it just a moment. So I found out that the glue that I used was not holding on, so this one came out, but I will try to put maybe a nail or something, I don't know, a pin head or something in here into the wood so it will hold it up. I tried putting the stapler into this fine space, but it will crush the teeth, and I don't want to try to straighten them back. And another thing that I found out is that this one is from a dog brush that has, as you can see, all the top of the pins are covered with this plastic stuff, and it's much safer for me when I push down with my hand, when I push the fiber down. And also the angle of the teeth, it doesn't show very well. It's much more convenient for me than this one. Oh, this one was grabbing a bit less the fiber, but overall I managed to do a rolag with the fiber that I showed you earlier, and I plan to do about 300 grams worth of rolags, and with the left fiber I might combine it with something else to make a different color, because as I told you, my future cardigan will have already a commercial bought yarn, which is also a marled yarn. Let me show you a bit. So it will be this color here, which is also woolen spun 2-ply marled yarn. It's a beige with a natural white, so undyed wool. I found this is also merino, but it's a coarser fiber. I think might be also up to 31 microns. And I found a local producer, actually a couple kilometers away, but I believe that it's a small owner-operated business, and I plan to use this along with a mohair, a beige one, and ta-da! This is one of the rolags, the only one so far that I've done on the blending board, and I mixed all the fibers there. I was aiming to make it look similar to the bat that Trish from Fiber Love Diary has. It's a 2020 video in May, I think she released it. And even if it's not the same, the colors are similar and I still love it, and I can't wait to see what kind of yarn I can make with it. This rolag, it's all the fiber that I could put on my board. I was a bit ambitious, maybe next time, because it's a bit stiff, so I will need to pre-draft it a bit more. But for the other ones that I'm gonna make, I'm probably gonna make smaller ones and a bit fluffier, maybe two separated into passes. So this is what it looks like so far, my rolag. And yeah, maybe I'll also show once I'll finish spinning and plying a bit of this.